Love triangles. Are there any words more thrilling to the human soul? Probably not. So, if we look at love triangles throughout history, just think about all cultures, the animal kingdom, literature. It's an integral part of so much that's written, sung about, drama that goes on in people's lives. If you think about love triangles that have inspired some of the best sort of fiction ever, whether it be TV, movies, books, ancient text, music, everything. I'm pretty sure everybody listening to this at some point in their life will have been part of some kind of love triangle. You'll be very lucky if you're not. Some kind of, when you was younger, there was like your mate who fancied a girl at school or a lad and you wanted them and they went out with them and then you tried to get with them, and how often does it happen? And to be honest, it's not just when you're young, it's throughout life. It's, if you think about what it's caused some people to do, the jealousy and rage that can take over someone when you find out that someone that you are infatuated with or that you love is with another person, especially when that person is like, like a best friend or something. It happens, I work in an environment where there's all kinds of stuff going on, people getting with other people behind people's back, and having to deal with betrayal is one of the most difficult things that a human being can deal with. Sometimes it's like family members, brothers and sisters run off with people's spouses and things like that. It's caused numerous, untold, countless murders throughout history. It still happens now. If you ever watch Life and Death Row, the BBC documentary, there's people on death row that have been sentenced. If you look at the animal kingdom, right, you have, animals trying to devour each other for the love of a mate. The affection of a mate, whatever you want to call it. So if you look at some of the more famous ones in sort of real life, you could say, I don't know, Camilla Charles and the late Lady Diana, Liz Taylor and Eddie Fisher, and Debbie Reynolds. Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds were together until Liz Taylor came swanning along. One interesting one is Percy Shelley, who is one of the most famous love sort of poets, who's got some comparisons with this little tale has got some comparisons to what I'm going to talk about now. Percy Shelley ran off with a 15-year-old called Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin. They always have long dramatic names back then, didn't they? Left his pregnant wife. His work after that inspired some of the greatest sonnets, and one of them was can't remember the name of it. It was like one of the sonnets that he wrote was inspired. They named a Breaking Bad episode after it. With him being a poet, I thought that was a nice comparison to draw, and especially the underage fact of Murray is a nice comparison to draw with this greatest love triangle that has ever occurred in the history of the universe, that is Lorne Armstrong, Derek and Kayla. Now Kayla is also known as Kayla Marie Armstrong and Kayla Moore. What makes this the greatest love triangle ever? Well, it's quite simple. It's a very unusual one. The reason being, one, it isn't some of the. Let's look at those love triangle little sort of that I mentioned there are all real. If we look at some fictional ones, I don't know, in soap operas and things like that. I don't really watch them anymore, but I'm trying to think of a movie that's got like a love triangle in it. Can't think of any off the top of my head. Well, I suppose you could say Rose, Jack and Cal from Titanic. You know, it's one of the greatest romantic films ever, isn't it? That's a love triangle that you know, Cal tried to kill Jack. Jack ended up snuffing it. You know what I mean? Rose fucked off and lived happily ever after, and then never mind. But the reason that the Lorne, Derek, and Kayla love triangle is so special is that one of those people is real to a degree, and the other two are fictional, completely fictional. Well, one of them is a composite of 5 different people, Kayla. One of them is a complete fiction, Derek, and one of them is real, as in Lorne. Now, as well as that, you'd be thinking, how can a love triangle exist when you've got one real person and 2 people that are fictional? Is it somebody's had a dream? Has somebody been conned? You know, has somebody been lied to and manipulated? Is somebody insane? Well, it's a combination of all those things. Now, for anybody that, in the unlikely event that anybody stumbled across this video that isn't familiar with the apparent subject matter with regard to this particular love triangle, I will give a brief synopsis. So, Lorne, a 36-year-old bloke, male, we call them blokes in England, men, blokes, entered into a chat, this particular document that you are looking at now, entered into a chat with what he believed was a 13-year-old girl, here, Kayla. What Lorne didn't know is that Kayla wasn't a 13-year-old girl, which she initially thought. It was actually somebody who worked for a volunteer group called Perverted Justice, whose purpose was to catch online predators. Lorne entered into this chat and very, very quickly turned it sexual in an obvious attempt to have sex with an underage girl. What also transpired is what we're going to talk about now, is a chap called Derek, who the person playing Kayla, who was on the other end of the chat log. So we had somebody, a volunteer at the group Perverted Justice, who was talking every day to Lorne for like a month. This document's huge. So this person invented, because they had to keep the chat interesting, shall we say, and keep Lorne hooked to getting prosecuted. So numerous characters had to be invented, including her friends and her parents, and even her character, as shallow as it was, had to be invented. So they invented Derek, who is Kayla's 13-year-old ex-boyfriend. Now, Derek is quite possibly most people's favourite character in the whole Lorne saga. If you ask people, I think it's probably Adam, my friend Adam, who we do some of the videos with. It's probably, I think Derek's his favourite character. We did a stream the other week with a professor of communication, Eric, his favourite character. I remember what he said to me when we first chatted. He said, I'm a big Derek fan. And of course, it's not difficult to understand why. Let's look at this logically. We have this 36-year-old bloke, right, who's entered into this chat log. He's already being fooled. And when we read it, it's one of the elements that we like about it is the fact that it is schadenfreude, really. The fact that when people read it, it's more fascinating because he thinks it's real. It's kind of like a work of fiction, but it isn't. It's real. Which is, why this love triangle is so interesting. It's like a love triangle that's not a triangle. So it's got like 1 point, but it should have 3. It's like you'd have a triangle and rub half of it off. It's like, well, where's the triangle? Well, it's kind of here. Yeah. So what's kind of interesting is that as well as Lorne buying into this fictional chat, it's also interesting that he gets jealous and even rage. He even exhibits rage at various points because of Derek. Now, Derek is a 13-year-old schoolboy. Lorne, at this point, was a 36-year-old man. So, he's 23 years older than this boy. Not only is he 23 years older, which would be crazy to sort of get jealous about such a person, but this person doesn't exist, which makes it even funnier. So, if we look at the chat, this is the first time, from what I can see, that, because I've done a bit of a search, that Derek's name gets mentioned. Now, Kayla previously in the chat has already mentioned that she has an ex, because Lorne asked her earlier in the chat, who she'd been with, what her experience was. She refers to him as DJ sometimes. So here Kayla's talking about what she's going to be doing like one day, and then she mentions that she's going out somewhere and that Derek's going to be there. And then Lorne responds by saying, that's not a problem, because if you're going to be honest with me and you want me, then you won't go near him. Just tell him to stay away from you, because if you don't, then you're going to lose me. I mean, it's quite phenomenal already. There's obviously insecurity issues here. So this chap, this 36-year-old man, has got insecurity issues, which, to be fair, a lot of 36-year-old blokes have. I've got insecurity issues. Most people listening to this will. We all have to a certain degree. So let's allow him that, yeah. What he doesn't seem to be able to have the awareness to grasp at this point is that his insecurity issues here stem around a 13-year-old schoolboy. If he was to imagine a picture of him, he'd be there in his school uniform, probably with a scraped knee, a plaster on his head, and he's probably got a conkers in his hand. And, just imagine, a real-life Bart Simpson with a slingshot in his pocket. He's sat at home, and his mum goes, Derek, your tea's ready. All right, Mum. It's like, oh, my God. And this guy's like, that's not a problem, because if you're going to be honest with me, and you want me, then you won't go near him. So he's telling this girl to stay away from this boy. And he's got her to the point where I will, I promise. And cross my pinky, what the fuck? No, that's not right. And also promise that you'll be honest with me if you do anything, okay? I didn't say that right. I ain't gonna, don't worry. Okay. Probably won't even talk to him. Good, I hope not. I won't. My cam is staying on for you. Right, okay. So, that's the first time in any detail it's been mentioned. Kayla's going somewhere. Well, she's not really, but he thinks she is. And he's kind of ordering her not to even talk to him. So, let's enter into the head of this bloke for a minute and buy into the fiction that this chap is real. You would have a 36-year-old man telling a school child that he's not to see another school children, or even she's not to see another school child in the yard and speak to him. Now, generally it would be the parents that say things like that. Unfortunately, this isn't really a parental thing here. It's pretty twisted, as we can already see. So, let's see if it's mentioned anymore. That means the only person who can see you, I love you. I'm going to go, I love you. Want to see my one more, what the fuck? Oh dear, oh dear. Now, for anybody that is new to this, which, like I said, Not going to be that many people. You can already ascertain just from this, in case you hadn't grasped it already, that this is a bloke with a few issues. Want to see my butt one more time too? Now, obviously, you would have already guessed that this bloke's got issues. Okay. Did you have fun? Yep. Good. Now, this is the day after. So, after the seed has been sowed, that Derek was going to be there. He clearly wants to question her further. So, what happened? What you mean? Did he try to talk to you? Did you talk to him? He said hi, and I said hi, and then I never talked to him again. Good. So, as far as he's concerned, at this point, that'll be the end of it, because he's been given an answer. They said hi to each other, and then that was it. Now, let's see if he presses the issue or whether she says anything else. Don't think that it's ever going to get mentioned again. Well, I like to do that, but I want to kiss your whole body. Good Lord. Especially when I use my tongue. I wish I could marry you right now, because I would do it. That's how special you are to me, and that's how much... Oh, you just can't get bored of those lines, can you? I wish I could marry you right now, because I would do it. That's how special you are to me, and that's how much I love you. I mean, if it was like a genuine, I mean, kind of is genuine as far as he's concerned at that point. But if it was like a genuine love and affection, and it was a normal situation between two people that had the same love, it'd be kind of sweet. But given the dynamics of that relationship, of course, it isn't at all. It's more disturbing than anything else, as anybody can ever mention. Or yeah, if I could marry you right now, would you want to? Okay, so let's go to the next point. That one point of this triangle gets mentioned. Have you talked to Derek? Nope. You tell me if you did, right? So he's got an answer straight away from Kayla, which is like, nope. But he's that sort of caught up on this particular chap or boy. He's not even a chap, is he? He's a boy. You tell me if you did, right? So it's if it was just a fleeting sort of issue that you had, and it wasn't that at the forefront of your mind, and it wasn't causing you issues, you just accept that as good, right? Okay, no problem. But is that sort of insecure and worried that he has to probe further? Now, another reason, obviously, let's look at this. Derek represents sort of normality for him, because he knows that really she'd be better off with him. He's 13, she's 13. There isn't any legal talk about the legal issues too. There's not any legal issues there. What's that line that Klein says in them? There's a little bit of a legal issue there too. Obviously, Lorne, it's not your typical... Well, obviously, what a stupid thing to say. It's not your typical love triangle. That's what makes it the greatest love triangle ever. Because otherwise, a typical one would just be fucking boring, wouldn't it? And no one would be interested. But this one... Derek represents Kayla having a normal life and normal friends and a normal situation. But of course, for him, he doesn't want that. He knows that he's got to steer her in another direction. He can't have her doing normal things that a normal girl that age will do. Otherwise, he knows he's got a good chance of losing her. So Derek represents for him the arch nemesis. Of course, his arch nemesis at this point in his life is a fictional 13-year-old boy. But it represents the illusion that he's created, because even though he thinks it's real, he knows there's a part of him that knows deep down that what he's doing is impossible, that isn't going to work. He's got enough about him to realise deep down, somewhere in the depths of his soul, that it is never, that what he's planning, even though he's bought into this romance, he knows it can never work, ever, because it's ridiculous. How could it? He says in the chat log at some point that he's going to wait until she's 18, she's going to have a baby, and Kayla's parents are going to deliver the baby. Oh, Jesus Christ, because of the doctors. Unbelievable. So, that Derek represents a normal life and the destruction of the illusion, which is why it's even more of a threat. It's not just someone else like a good-looking doctor, shall we say, who's hung like a donkey, that's better than him in every way. This is the illusion is the only thing that's keeping Lorne going. At this point in his life, things are really bad. He's had to run away. He's no money, sleeping on the floor. So this represents, this illusion is so he doesn't have to face up to reality. And that coupled with the alcohol is what gets him through his everyday life. He even mentions it in the chat. So, have you told any of your friends? No, I wish you were here when you come home. Blah, 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 blah. Are you in your PJs? Would you want to touch my... Oh, my goodness gracious me. Right, okay. So here we are. This is on the 30th. So this is 8 days after Derek was first mentioned in the chat. Were any boys there? So, was that where you were last night? Hanging out. Right, so she was doing what normal girls do, hanging out with her friends. Were any boys there? Yes. Who? Let's see. Cody, Tyler, Derek, Maria, Jesse, Haley. And me, lol. Now, what's funny about this is that probably the decoy who's writing this is probably winding him up a bit, because she knows she's going to get a reaction. And I've noticed at numerous points during this chat that she likes to have a bit of a play with him, because she's going to be bored and she's going to like winding him up. And if you're talking to someone who's trying to do what he's trying to do to what he believes is a child, there's going to be part of you that wants to hurt him. It could take a very enlightened person to not have any animosity towards this guy and want to inflict some kind of pain and suffering on him, even if it is only to a mild degree. I mean, let's not forget the decoy's all goal is to get this guy incarcerated, and they succeeded. He got 5 years. So she rattles off a loads of names of her friends, and then we've got Derek, ex-Derek. So not only is it, you can tell how pissed off he is because you've got 2 question marks. You wouldn't say, let's just say that it was a normal chat and he wasn't that bothered. It'd just be Derek. Oh, right, okay, you didn't talk to him, did you? But it's like Derek, question mark times 2, ex-Derek, just to confirm that it's him, because he's in pissed off mode now, isn't he? Let's be honest. And then Kayla responds, yeah, that Derek, in capital letters. So I think she's toying with him in a bit here. Did you talk to him? Yeah, a little. Gonna tell me about it? It was no big deal, really. Now, if you're new to this, do you think he's gonna let this drop, given what you've already said? No, and you'd be right. So let's have a look. It was no big deal, really. Okay. So, are you going to tell me about it then? Question mark, lol. Now, the little lol there, it shows that Lorne hasn't lost total awareness of the situation. He's able to step back a little bit to know that he's in danger of going too far. He's in danger of antagonising her and pissing her off, because all she's really done is hang about with her friends. So he sticks the little lol on the end of it to make light-heart of it, so that it lightens the tone. Even though he doesn't, there's no laugh there, let's be honest. He's not going, okay, so are you going to tell me about it then? There's none of that. He's sat there, his blood pressure's up, he's probably smoking another cigarette, he's probably got another beer, his face has gone red, he's clenching his jaw, he's pissed off. He said, hi, Kayla. I said, hi, DJ. He said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing okay. That was all? No, I'm thinking. He said, why don't you talk to me anymore? I said, 'cause you're an ass. Lol. Good one, huh? That's my baby. So, of course, you know, his fears have been alleviated now, haven't they, Luke? Luke at the sort of, he's relieved. He's like thinking, oh, God for that. That's exactly what he wants to hear. She's just insulted him. She sort of dissed him. So his fears have just been, have been quashed. So it's the insecurity has been put to one side, so he can sort of rest now. So it's like, she does really like me. She's fucked him off. That's Luke, because we've not only got a little smile, we've got, I don't even know what half of these things are. We've got big smile, super rose, what's that? A kiss, and then another kiss, and then a super rose on top of that. So he's pretty happy at this point, isn't he? His fears have been alleviated. So then he said, we'll let you know I still like you. Then he said, well, I still like you. So it's quite obvious. There's no other explanation than the decoys having a play around. Or I suppose part of it could be trying to draw him in a bit more, but they're going to know they've got hold of him at this point. I think the decoy's just having a joke with him and sort of a little bit of torture, really. A little bit of psychological torture. Well, it's probably better to say fucking with him. And what did you say? I said, yeah. And he said, I really do. I said, yeah, okay, DJ. Then he said something else, but I can't remember what it was, which is like really not going to be what he wants at all, is it? Because he's going to want to know the whole exchange, because it's in danger of shattering everything, isn't it, for him? Everything that he's got hold of. So then he went and talked to someone else. So then, later, get this. He comes and sits by me, right? I don't want him to sit by you. Not lol. No lol at this point. You know what I mean? He's really serious. I don't want 13-year-old boy to sit by 13-year-old girl. And puts his arm around me and tries to kiss me. No. You can imagine the rage that's on setting now. And is told him, I don't think so. So he got mad and said fine then, and didn't talk to me for the rest of the night. Good. I don't like him. You don't even know him. He's trying to make a move on you. I don't like him. And you can tell she's fucking around, because initially, well, obviously she's fucking around. It's completely made up. Even I lost grip on reality then for a minute. I was sort of drawn in. But of course, initially she's gone, it's no big deal. I said hi, he said hi, that's it. And didn't even mention the fact that, because if this was a normal situation, of course, with people all their own age, let's say you was talking to your wife and their ex worked with them and said, oh yeah, my ex-boyfriend put his arms around me today and tried to kiss me. You'd be pretty pissed off, wouldn't you? You'd be like, probably, if you could get hold of his number, you'd ring him up, stay the fuck away, that kind of thing. So in a normal situation, you could understand his rage, but in this, obviously, not at all. Didn't talk to him for the rest. I don't like him. You don't even know it. He's trying to make a move on you. I don't like him. Can't make a move if I don't let him. Yeah, I know, but I don't even like it when you told me he sat beside you. Then I started getting more mad when you told me he put his arms around you. If he would have kissed you, I would have been completely pissed off. Well, you're not kidding. Well, he didn't, so don't worry. I wish you were here with me. Me too. Did I forget to tell you, precious, that I get jealous? I mean, like you said, he does have awareness of the situation, but he's still. Some people, I mean, it's a bit silly to say some people in this situation take a step back, but no one else other than this bloke had got into this situation so deep at this point, to the degree that he has. I mean, with all the love, I love you and marriage and all that, there's very few that were falling into this trap, and there's only him that could have written all this stuff, of course. It's unique to him. But some people, let's just say, some other predator found themselves in this predicament. They might have had a realisation and thought, shit, I'm getting jealous over a 13-year-old boy, and gone, oh my god, and had a realisation and thought, what am I doing? And then just kind of walked away. But he's obviously never able to do that. Why was he at Haley's? You see, he needs more information. He's not happy with what he's been told. There's unanswered questions. His insecurities are coming to the surface. The whole situation that he's found himself in, the reality's been broken. It's been threatened. It's being threatened. Well, he's still friends with everybody. Just because he's not my BF doesn't mean he ain't friends with everyone. I realise that. I just don't like him being at the place where you're at. And like I said, if it was a normal situation, you could completely get it. Lorne, he goes to my school. He's in some of my classes. That I can deal with. I mean, places where he's able to try and make a move on you. So what I'm supposed to do? Not hang out with any of them? No, I'm not saying that. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I can prevent it. Well, because he knows he can't tell her to stop going to school, can he? I mean, he's got enough, I would say, intelligence, but it's not really intelligence. I'd say, he knows. I mean, you'd have to be a complete fucking total tool to, stop her from going to school. No sugar for him. I almost got home early last night. Let's see. Is that the end of it? Yeah, so he's had his little, he's had his panic. And now what he wants to do is, go down the schmoozy road again. He wants to forget that and have his little romantic moments and feel, the attachment and the need and all that. So that's what he's kind of doing at the minute. Okay, I love you, my precious princess. I don't ever want to lose you. Of course, he's going to say stuff like that now because he's feeling vulnerable. He's realising how vulnerable his situation is. At any moment, at any time, he can lose her. Of course, that's the same for anybody, really. You've got to realise you can, as much as, you've kind of got to, you've got to let go of your fears in relationships, haven't you? If you're fearful and insecure, it will destroy the relationship. And the only way to deal with them is to admit that you ultimately have no control. And it's the same with life. You've got no control, have you? You could get wiped out in a minute. We all could. So you've just got to let go of your fear and just let whatever will be. More so in relationships, because nothing, like I've said, nothing brings up stirring emotions and hatred and anger like romantic affiliations. Nothing. I'm just trying to explain, blah 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 blah. Anyway, so I think, that did you talk to him? It's no big deal. I think that's the last time that Derek ever gets mentioned. Now, there's obviously been lots of Lorne material since this chat log. I believe he was asked questions in some of these crazy interviews about Derek, but I don't think he actually remembers. There's so much stuff for the chat log that he just can't remember. Some of it is because, there's too much. It's 407 pages. He's not going to remember everything, is he? Some of it I think he'll have blocked out. And it's interesting that he thinks that the chat log has been doctored. he genuinely I say he genuinely believes. I think it's a convenient way for him to sort of explain away some of the more graphic moments of the chat, but he continually said that it was edited to incriminate him by perverted justice. Now, every single person knows that's bullshit. It's just a way of him not taking responsibility, so that if something or someone points out any really bad parts, he'll just say, I didn't say that. And no one can, with 100% proof, I mean, we all know it, but I suppose it gives him a way of, it's just another way of him not taking responsibility, isn't it? As we all know. So, I thought it would be fun to explore this brilliant love triangle. It is, without a doubt, the greatest love triangle in history. There's been videos made about it. There's been Base Sharma did quite a few, and like I said, he's many people's favourite character. It is because it highlights just how ridiculous this whole situation is. Maybe more. He's probably the one character that highlights how ridiculous this situation is, and that's the reason why it threatens him so much. Because to him it does as well. It highlights how ridiculous it is, but he can't face up to it at this point. Yeah. So, I hope you've enjoyed this little stroll into history's greatest love triangle. If you have any additional points to raise that we can have a fun chat about, please do so in the comments. And there'll be some new stuff coming, I would imagine, soon. Delve into some of the other TCAP people that were caught. It's been ages since I've just done a random video just exploring a new person and a new chat log. So when I get the time, I'm going to do that. So, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you soon.